Welcome back. Duke Energy agreed last week to pay a $6 million fine for a spill from one of its power plants that coated the Dan River along the North Carolina-Virginia border. This coming as the country's largest power holding company is in the process of acquiring Piedmont Natural Gas in a $6.7 billion deal. A lot of news happening right now. Duke, joining me right now, is Lynn Good. She is the chairman and CEO and president of Duke Energy. Lynn, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. I know the Piedmont deal is a big deal. When do you expect that to close?
We're anticipating closing by the end of the year. Could occur earlier than that. This is an important part of our move into natural gas and natural gas infrastructure. So we're excited about being almost at the finish line.
You've been investing in natural gas. This is going to take your exposure there way up, this deal. So why is that where you see growth at Duke?
Natural gas is going to be an important part of delivering energy, whether you're producing power or other solutions for customers. And so we see power generation, gas generation, we see pipeline infrastructure, and Piedmont as being part of what we believe important solutions for customers.
You know, we talk so much about the energy space, and I know that it has also become a topic on the campaign trail. Donald Trump says he wants to tap into the energy resources of this country. Do you see that as a viable situation in terms of growth in America?
I think energy is part of everyone's conversation because it's what powers the economy.
Exactly, yeah.
And so energy has to be front and center. And I believe here in the U.S. we have so many resources. Natural gas, we have great renewable resources as well, and a very coveted nuclear fleet that provides important power. So energy will always be part of the conversation. And we at Duke look for ways that we can continue to lead and, grow our infrastructure in a way that helps our community.
And yet, you can't talk about energy and what's happening in the industry without talking about regulation. I mean, we've seen a whole host of new regulations coming out of the EPA. Can you characterize that part of the business and whether or not the new regulatory framework has impeded growth?
I think regulations are something that you have to deal with. They're a part of business. And in our industry in particular, because we're regulated at the federal and the state level, it's part of our decision-making process. What we try to do at Duke is really challenge and look at all of these regulations and say, how can we position our company to be successful in that environment?
Can you do that, though, given that these regulations are coming at you fast and hard?
We have to work hard every day to do that. And so we have been decarbonizing, as an example, 28% reduction in carbon over the last 10 years. And we'll continue to look for investments that make sense for our customers.
Let me ask you about Charlotte. Obviously, Duke headquartered in Charlotte. We had the violent protest last week. You told employees to stay home. You were in Charlotte. Can you give us a sense of what that was like and the shooting, sort of what that did on the ground? So
Charlotte, it's been a challenging time for our city and really heartbreaking. This is not something that anyone wanted in Charlotte. And so we have, as I talk to people in the city, everyone is looking for ways that we can move forward and rebuild trust in the community. My focus for Duke employees was on their safety. And so we made the decision on Thursday that working at home was a good decision, very dynamic situation. But we were back at work on Friday, over the weekend, Monday and Tuesday. So we're in that process of rebuilding.
But that had to be so emotional. I mean, I think it was a smart decision to keep people at home because we saw what was going on in the streets. But that also was emotional, I bet, for so many of your employees who live there and obviously work there.
Sure. And I've been in Charlotte for 10 years. It's a city we love. It's a community that Duke has been a part of for 100 years. And so we want to be a part of working with community leaders to rebuild the trust and confidence that's so important for any city, Charlotte included.
Yeah, we're watching that because it's a sad thing when this happens, and it's happening too often, frankly. Congratulations on Fortune magazine, and again, I know that this is you've been every year. You are one of the most powerful women in business and the world. What advice can you give other women in terms of climbing the corporate ladder, in terms of dealing in a man's world?
The simplest advice is find something that you love to do, that you're passionate about, that you get up every morning excited to go to work. And it's really an honor to be a part of Duke Energy, surrounded by great people, a business and mission that really matters. Energy is something that's important to our community. So if you can find that, that's really a good platform for success.
I totally agree. I always tell people emerging and coming up in the world, work really hard, but also find something that you love so that you can get up in the morning and love it and work really hard doing it. But it's got to be tough. I mean, you're a woman working in the oil industry.
Of course, but
A lot of men in the oil industry.
A lot of men, but diversity is important for our industry, as it is for so many. And women, minorities, we try to, at Duke, find a very diverse workforce. That's the communities that we serve, and it's important to the success of business. And so I think, there are opportunities in energy for women. If you're passionate about it, let's find a way to make that work.
Do you think that the energy space represents the job creators? I mean, this is one space that you could actually see high-paying jobs, because a lot of the jobs that we talk about as it relates to energy they require a certain skill, and they do warrant a higher salary, right?
I'm proud of what this industry is able to produce for jobs. I look at the opportunities in our company for linemen, for service techs, for people to work in the power plants, for engineers, for finance, legal. We're one of the largest employers in our area. And you have an opportunity to create a career in the energy industry, which is a rare thing, as you know, in certain sectors.
And in terms of the infrastructure part of it, I mean, there's a story in the Journal today about the fracking companies and how they're actually doing quite well, even though oil prices had plummeted. Is that an area that you think could also represent growth for the economy?
I think the production of natural gas has been a real game changer for our industry. We have low-cost resource that we can use in a period where we're trying to grow and also decarbonize, and natural gas is a lower carbon source of generation. And so I think there's a great opportunity to put that resource to work for the benefit of our economy.
All right, we will leave it there. So you think Piedmont closes by year-end?
Hopefully sooner.
Lynn, good to see you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Lynn Good is the CEO at Duke Energy.